This video is going to be my game reaction or review to the Seahawks 26-20 win over the Broncos in Week 1 of the NFL regular season. Seahawks defense put on a show in their opening performance under Mike Macdonald. A lot of other issues in the first half, offense and special teams, obviously, but the defense was as advertised. Seattle got what they wanted eventually on offense, that is. They woke up in the second half. I think a really dominant third quarter offensively, something like 136 yards of offense, and then the opening play of the fourth quarter, Zach Charbonnet scores on a wheel route to take, I think, a 26-13 lead. Geno Smith on the day finished with 171 yards passing, but he was efficient, 18 of 25 overall, one touchdown to Charbonnet, down to their third string offensive right tackle, with Lucas out and then Fant getting hurt. The defense played incredible, I think, with the situation that they were put in, giving up two safeties, the offense giving up two safeties in the first half, a muffed punt that gave the Broncos the ball inside the 5. Bo Nix was put in a blender, what I call the Mike Macdonald blender. He was forced to make a number of quick throws to the outside because of blitz pressure. And then it's like Mike Macdonald's defense is this rotating, shifting amoeba, if you will, that can cover any open space. The safeties and linebackers came down and reacted quickly to make tackles. And apparently, tackling was an issue last year for Seattle. From what I heard in the offseason, and then the announcers talked about today, I think it was Adam Archuleta in the stream that I was watching. Safeties and linebackers coming downhill. Wallace forced a fumble. Jenkins had a couple of tackles downhill, meaning from the second level, maybe even the third level. Balls thrown short, and guys are coming up making tackles. Julian Love I thought he played a fantastic game. I intend to do a film study video about him. I'll let some of the stats flow through here. Hopefully that font isn't too small. If it is, let me know. Tyreek Woolen kind of capped it with the interception. I thought he capped it, I should say, with the interception of Nix with about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then Nix is able to generate a touchdown, kind of make things close, pull it to within 26-20. Incredible game by the defense because of how fast they played. They really imposed their will on the Broncos. We knew that Nix would struggle. He's a rookie quarterback, and they always struggle in their first game in the NFL. Look, Caleb Williams struggled as well. They won the game, they being the Bears, but 29 passes is what it took Caleb Williams to get to 93 yards or so. And this is really, look, what happened today is really what you saw happen with Mike Macdonald's defense in Baltimore in 2023 and 2022. Meaning, if they can stop or severely limit your run game, you will end up in a blender as a play caller, meaning he's going to mix things up however he wants, but it's all going to be sound. 4 or 5 or 6 different options on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and you as a play caller have no clue, and a quarterback have no clue post-snap which one it's going to be. That dynamic, I thought, showed up today. Broncos finished with 231 yards of offense on 15 possessions. So they only averaged 3.3 yards per play. Along with those 3.3 yards per play, however, they averaged 15 yards per drive. If I did my math right, dividing 231 by 15 possessions. On the offensive side for Seattle, Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet scored touchdowns. I thought that Seattle's defense might have gotten tired there late in the fourth quarter. The coverage / blitz or stunt paradigm was changed. There was really no reason for Macdonald or those guys to blitz. So I think you were looking at a little bit different style of defense at that point, and Bo Nix was able to take advantage of it. So it even took that to kind of push them up to 231 yards overall. So when I say a dominant day, I think you'll agree that it was a great opening for Mike Macdonald's defense in Seattle. Seahawks get the ball back, and then they're able to close it out on the incredible third down catch by Tyler Lockett. He was kind of juggling it. I thought he caught it twice, maybe 3 times. Riley Moss, the corner, was in trail. It was a mesh concept. I thought it was a good call by Grubb, the offensive coordinator. If you ask me, that to me was the matchup that was most efficient for the Seahawks offense. Lockett finished with 6 catches on 7 targets for 77 yards. Obviously it was important for him to win that last matchup. Kenneth Walker III was out at some point during the fourth quarter. I didn't hear an injury update or anything like that, but he finished with 103 yards on 20 carries. Could they have ran the ball a little bit more effectively if he was in there those last 2 possessions in the fourth quarter? I don't know. I mean, Charbonnet seems like a really talented running back to me as well, and that's why you want backup. That's why you want, the saying is, where you have one, you have none, and where you have 2, you have 1. And in this case, 2 running backs that are really talented. I know Kenneth Walker III is the superior guy in terms of breaking tackles and bursts. But it's a great asset to be able to have two really high-level running backs, young ones at that. So Walker finished with 103 on the ground. I didn't see him get hurt. I don't know when it was. He was dominant in that third quarter. What I want to do now is, what I'd like to do generally is review possessions that I think are important. And these are the two possessions that back-to-back helped give Seattle a 19-13 lead. There's going to be a couple of typos in here. There's one right there at the bottom of the screen that you see indicating that Seattle has a 17-13 lead. It was actually 16-13, and then the field goal in the third quarter pushes it to 19-13. But this is where they really started to take control. Walker, I think, got 5 carries on these 6 plays. 6-play drive. There was a false start on the right tackle from a 1st and 10 on the 22. The down and distance is listed to the left. The yard line is the second column. Personnel, formation, run, pass, direction, and then scheme, result, which is kind of irregular in terms of the alignment all the way to the right. But Walker was dominant. Lockett had a 12-yard catch along the right sideline that was complete. I didn't catch the personnel there because they were going hurry up, so I would assume it's still 11 personnel, but I usually don't write it in unless I know. And then a couple of runs to the tight end side, where I have SSR. So it's third play down for you guys, 1st and 10 from the 43. And it's trips left closed A. That means the running back and the tight end are on the same side. Walker downhill, same side run as SSR. So the right tackle, I thought this was a good drive for the right tackle, who again was replacing Fant, who was in for Lucas that's on the PUP. It was good to get him to block Cooper in the run game a little bit. Really wide lane there. Walker takes it for 6. Then I thought there was an inside trap for 15 yards that maybe they came back to. So the 2nd and 4 from the 37 and the 2nd and 11 from the 23, those may be the same play concept. They look like trap to me. We did get, in the stream that I watched, we did get one end zone angle. So trap is a somewhat old school concept that as you move up the ladder of the levels of football from youth to high school to college to the NFL, you kind of see trap utilized a little bit less, although I feel like it's made a little bit of a comeback in the last 2 or 3 years. They really changed the dynamic here. And Walker's run, he broke it through on the right-hand side into the boundary, I thought, and then some good blocking by the tight end, and I think a receiver out to that side, but I could be wrong, and ends up squirting along the right sideline and diving into the end zone. I think it made it 16-13. Again, I have a typo there indicating that it was 17-13. There'll be another typo here at the end of the 10th possession, which is where they have to settle for a field goal, unfortunately. They're able to convert 1 3rd and 1. Walker is able to get a first down on the 3rd and 1. It's the third play down from the top. 3rd and 1 from the 38. Charbonnet had 2 touches early, so I thought it was good to rotate those guys at a certain point. You can see how many touches there were. Walker actually scored a touchdown here. 1st and goal from the 6. They called a hold on Metcalf, whose name I obviously spelled wrong there, and it was a clear hold. Metcalf didn't get his head on the correct side, so that was very unusual. It was a nice scheme. The announcers that I was watching, like I said, Adam Archuleta, did a great job of saying, hey, look, it's man, Surtain, on Metcalf. So if you assign Metcalf to go block the safety, then generally you're going to pull Surtain with him. Surtain kind of recognized it. He's not a great run defender in my experience of watching him. I watched him play against the Lions last year, and it was a really poor game for him. I don't think it's representative of Surtain's ability, who's generally regarded as one of the top 2 or 3 corners in the league. That day he was not. Today, everything he did against Metcalf was contested, made him work. Metcalf did have a big 3rd down catch later on in this quarter, but unfortunately didn't lead to a score. You had Fant here on an incomplete pass up the seam, which was an interesting throw for me. Looked like a little bit of traffic there on the 1st and goal from the 14. It's after the hold on Metcalf. That touchdown, I feel like, really would have given the Seahawks a chance to get some separation, but Nix leads them down the field later on, a couple of scrambles. So they kept fighting. Did the Seahawks defense get tired a little bit? Maybe. They had been the Seahawks had so much burden of responsibility early with the offense being terrible. So this one eventually they settled for a field goal to make it 19-13. Again, I have a typo there that indicates it was 20-13. That first half, if you've listened this long, you're probably a Seahawks fan. That first half had to be difficult to watch. You had 2 safeties, multiple pressures early on. I thought 2 sacks on the first 3 possessions, but maybe it was only 1. The interception, you have a muffed punt. the average starting position for the Broncos had to be on the Seahawks side of the 50 or close. It was because of where they were able to gain possession on the muffed punt. That probably skews it a little bit. I don't think the Seahawks could have played worse on offense, really nearly everything except the defense. However, the defense was amazing. Held Denver to 121 yards of offense. I make notes at halftime, so that's kind of what I'm reading here. Held Denver to 121 yards of offense on 3 yards per play to stay in the game. At that point, Nix was 12 of 22 in the first half with an interception. That was a great read, obviously, by Love. Nearly another interception that Dotson, the inside linebacker, who I really like, he dropped it in the middle of the field or on the right hash in the second quarter. That start for the offense was tough to watch. Geno Smith sacked on the opening play. Then the second play, his legs are collisioned. Kind of looked a little ugly or ominous because he was kind of bent up a little bit, I thought, on his left leg. The throw was well short. I think he was targeting Lockett. Ends up being an interception. The Seahawks defense held the Broncos to a field goal. Boye Mafe, I thought, was shot out of a cannon early. You guys may know, if you've watched any of my content, he's one of my favorite players in the league. I think he's super talented. He played spectacular early from a disruption standpoint. He did get a sack. I think Derek Hall also had a sack. In the first half, getting back to Seattle's offense and how poor they were, Geno Smith is 8 of 12 passing for 59 yards and an interception. Now, he did have the 34-yard touchdown run, the only touchdown for the Seahawks in the first half. That helped them take a 9-8 lead. Then another safety on a failed run play. They just couldn't get anything going. And look, the defensive tackle, well, Cooper and Browning were also causing problems, the edge players for the Broncos. But that defensive tackle, 99, I think his last name is Allen, he was put on a show. He stunted inside to tackle Charbonnet kind of from behind. Broncos took a 10-9 lead, grew to 13-9. And in the first half, I believe the Broncos' time of possession advantage was like 18 and a half, to 11 and a half. But they were only 4 for 12 on third downs. The running game was kind of going in spurts at that point, 60 yards on 16 carries. My notes at the half said, Julian Love is so far the best player on the field, at least performance, today in the first half. Multiple tackles at or near the line of scrimmage or just thereafter. The interception at the 1-yard line. Woolen nearly had an interception on a slant. It was a low throw from Nix, I believe mid to late second quarter. And it's a dangerous throw by Nix because if he throws it out in front of the receiver, the safety's there. So I don't think he realized what he was messing with Tariq Woolen because he intentionally kind of threw it low and behind the receiver to keep it away from the safety. And I thought Woolen was the first guy to touch it. I don't want to say it was close to an interception, but he was the first guy to touch it. And that's a guy that, pretty much as soon as the ball gets to him, it sticks. First half offense for the Seahawks was 9 possessions, 102 total yards, and 34 of those yards were on Smith's touchdown scramble. 1 interception, 2 safeties assigned to them. So even the 20 points in the end really is misleading as far as what the Seahawks defense gave up. The defense was a rock. They played a lot of zone today, I thought, or maybe there's a lot of match principles in there. You never really know with McDonald. Because you'll get one call on the right side of the field and a separate call on the left side of the field. Overall, for the day, Denver finished with 99 yards rushing on 25 carries, but that's kind of skewed. Nix had a 23-yard scramble up the left sideline, and then he also had the touchdown run to cut it to 26-20 with 2 minutes left. So I think that's even misleading. If that's what the Seahawks can do against teams, if they can hold teams to 3 yards per carry or less, then the Seahawks coverage paradigm is going to cause problems because McDonald, I'm sure at this point, has those guys well trained on blitzes and different stunts and schemes that appear to leave areas open, and then suddenly a safety or a linebacker or a corner is dropping down to cover that area, and a short throw ends up creating a 3rd and 4. That's what he wants. First down run play, 2 yards. Second down pass play, 4 yards. 3rd and 4. You're now in the Mike McDonald blender. And that's what we saw today. Julian Love, I think, finished with 12 tackles. Maybe he made a touchdown-saving tackle on, I think it's McLaughlin, the running back for the Broncos, had a nice year last year. Terrell Dotson, 9 solos on 10 tackles overall. Witherspoon was very active, of course. Mafe and Derek Hall had 1 sack each, like I said. Overall, I believe the Broncos were held to 13 first downs. And of those 13, 4 of them came on, 3 or 4 of them came on that late fourth quarter drive. So a really dominant day in terms of how long Denver's drives were. Again, I got an average drive length of 15 yards. Offense finally got it going in the third quarter. That was enough. Scored again to open the fourth on that wheel route by Charbonnet, and they were fortunate to be able to close it out with the incredible catch by Lockett on the third down. I do intend to do a film study video on Julian Love. I think it's worthwhile. I'm a Ravens content creator, and I also cover the Lions. I intend to do, I think, 7 different Seahawks reaction videos like this one. It's about all I have time for. There's oftentimes overlap, number one. Number two, my schedule is with my actual day job business is going to prevent me from covering about 3 of them. So the next time I will be able to do a reaction video for Seahawks fans will be week 4, when I believe they take on the Lions. So I cover the Lions, again, with film study videos and reactions anyway. So I look forward to that. You have to let me know if you enjoyed this reaction video. I'm sure that there's a ton of Seahawks content out there during the week, so I intend to not step on too many toes, but I would like to do a Julian Love video because I thought he played fantastic today. Again, finishing with a game-high 12 tackles. You guys, if you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this quick reaction to Seattle's game-opening win against the Broncos at home, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach. Appreciate you guys' time.